Alex Weaver here, joined by Ben Kennedy, and NASCAR has some exciting news to announce surrounding the long-rumored return to racing in Mexico, this time with the NASCAR Cup Series. I know that the Xfinity Series raced in Mexico from 2005 to 2008, but it's time now for the Cup Series to head down to Mexico.
It is. We're going international for the first time in the modern era with a point series race for a Cup Series. So, to your point, Alex, we've had the Xfinity Series there for a few years. We actually had a few points races for a Cup Series in the 1950s. But this has been on our radar for a long time. We've been talking about the continued iteration of our schedule, right? You go back a few years, we went to new markets like Nashville and Austin, Texas. We went to the Coliseum for the Clash for a few years. We went to our first international or our first street race in downtown Chicago. And this is going to be another first for us in a lot of ways. This is going to be certainly a monumental event for us. The first time we're going south of the border. We're going to have great partners down there with the Ocesa team. They have a ton of experience putting on massive events in and around Mexico and Mexico City. They put on the Formula One race. And it's going to be a really big event and a monumental moment in our schedule next year. Probably the most anticipated moment of the 2025 schedule.
Yeah, most anticipated for me for sure. And I know we've done Mexico, but in the Xfinity Series. But I want to know how the success of a place like Chicago and bringing a street race to the NASCAR Cup Series, it's played into the NASCAR Cup Series securing this international points race.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, Chicago was a bit of a catalyst for us to go to Mexico City. If you think about Chicago, again, the first time we've ever had a street race in our Cup Series history. And to be able to go to downtown Chicago in a unique way around that, the operations of the event, the entertainment, the event experience, there are a lot of new elements for our sport and our industry to go to Chicago and be able to implement an event like that. Mexico is going to have a lot of those same elements, right? We're going to a new market. We're going a pretty long distance from a lot of, where a lot of our teams are based out of in Charlotte, North Carolina. And there are a lot of logistics involved in getting down there. So we're going to put an entire team together over the next several months. A lot of folks that have been involved in the Chicago process from the start. And, they're going to be helping kind of shepherd us down to Mexico City. So it's going to be a big project for our company and our sport over the next year or so. But as we saw in Chicago, it was certainly a big lift, but a lot of neat storylines that came out of it. I think we're going to see the same thing in Mexico City.
Yeah, for sure. The Cup Series we know internationally has been to Japan and Australia. It's been exhibition races, however. We noted the Xfinity Series passed in Mexico. The Truck Series is also run in Canada. How important and significant is international racing to the sanctioning body for the Cup Series?
It's huge. When we talk as a leadership team about where we feel like our biggest growth opportunities as a sport is, international is always one of the first things that come up. And, to your point, Alex, we brought the Craftsman Truck Series to Canada for a number of years. We've had the Xfinity Series in Mexico. This is a monumental moment for our sport in the sense that this is our first step of really taking the Cup Series internationally. And, I think it could set us up for the future in potential new markets. I think we've been honest about our interest in taking our Cup Series abroad, whether that's north of the border or south of the border. And then as we talk about some of our other races, there are opportunities for us to take the Cup Series even further than that. So, it's going to be a big project for us. There's a lot of questions that we have. I'm sure that the industry will have some questions as well, but excited to take this on and, to go to one of the biggest markets, not just in the country, but in the world is going to be huge for our sport.
Well, no work on my end, Ben. My passport is ready, so you just tell me when I need to be in Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to the NASCAR Cup Series racing in Mexico in 2025.